Rather than me tell you why he's such an inspiration, I'd just like Wojtek to tell you the story of his life, and I'm going to try and operate the slides for him. Wojtek, the TEDx Kazimierz stage is yours.
I was born in 1925. My family moved to Vilno when I was 3 years old. In 1939, the Soviets invaded the eastern part of Poland. I joined the resistance and helped distribute an underground newspaper called For Your Freedom and Ours. In April 1941, I was arrested by the Soviet NKVD and interrogated for many months as an enemy of the people. In June 1941, we were transported east to Gorky, to the prison of Gorky. At times, there were 60 prisoners in a single cell. Later, I was released and sent to a farm near Kirov. Ordinary Russians were friendly. They said, a man who was not been to prison is not a man. It was a saying, such saying. I joined the Polish army, aged 16, but was very sick and spent 3 months in hospital. When I was well enough to work as a guard through a winter of 1941-42, it was in that time the temperature above 15 centigrade minus, and many died. I was in 9th Infantry Division, one of the first units to cross the Caspian Sea to Persia. My Anders Army trekked through the Middle East, the onward journey to Battle of Monte Cassino, and later to Liverpool and Barnsley in England in 1946 would take longer than a TEDx talk. In Palestine, where my company was formed, it was the Artillery Supply Company. I met the famous Bear Wojtek. The soldier bear was part of the unit. I will tell you 3 things about this bear. First, he really existed. I am the last. I am the last living witness in Poland who knew him and was with him 2 years. He was huge, I was, and I'm small. They called me Little Wojtek, and him Big Wojtek. We don't have copyright to show the videos in the TEDx talk, but the videos you can see of Wojtek on YouTube are real. And he really did help us unload about 100 grams boxes, 100 kilograms, sorry, boxes of artillery shells. Second, in times of great suffering, not just our terrible experiences in the USSR, but also fear of the horrors of what was happening to our families back in Poland. Where they live? Would we see them again? Wojtek the Bear provided us with joy, comfort, and boosted our morale. Why? I don't know, but it was real. He really helped us. Third, there are now statues of Wojtek, the soldier bear, here in Park Jordana in Kraków, in Żagań, and in Imola, near Bologna in Italy. And more are planned. Wojtek, the soldier bear, is a powerful way to teach people about the terrible history of what the Soviet Union did and what happened to so many people like me, many of whom didn't survive the war. I've devoted some of my energy. And at 90, I don't have so much to promoting projects that help people learn about this history. Why did I come back to Poland? In 1947, I got a letter from my brother from Poland saying that he, my father and sister had all survived the war, imprisonment by Russians and the Germans, that the family was reunited in Toruń. He said that my place was with my family on the banks of the Vistula, not on the banks of the Thames in England. I agreed. I returned to Poland, devoted my life to geological research, mainly here in Kraków. My message for TEDx Kazimierz: if you are lucky enough to be alive and free and to have a family, you should appreciate your family, your life, and your freedom. And you do something worth doing with your life. Thank you for your attention.